Oh, here comes the helicopter hands. He can barely keep those helicopter hands still. Listening, swallowing, licking his lips. What a gold mine. So nervous, you just flop your coat on the back of the chair like this is goddamn McDonald's, boy. Have a little class. This is the Spring Hill Community Center, boy, and this is an interview. Just throwing your apparel about like a slob. Very cooperative after being charged, Anita Benita. You're right. What is it with 20 minutes with that guy? LOL at those glassy, bloodshot eyes. You guys are obsessed. You barnyard animals are all obsessed. Now, you guys understand how Jack and Lily are treated. Disregarded. Those eyes are glowing. You think?
You know, and when they did up the paper for consent on my DNA, you know, they fill in the paper, you know, May 2nd, missing persons case.
What the fuck? What the fuck does that have to do with you being innocent in any of this, you stupid son of a bitch? What does a box on a piece of paper while you get your blood sample have to do with anything? And he's sitting here on national television trying to use that as some sort of evidence as to him not being guilty in all of this. That's pretty shallow, Danny. It's ineffective. Did they okay you with all the paperwork first? Sure, there's all kinds of releases that you have to sign. You think it's all in one big bundle and they just have a little box to check that says, no, Danny's innocent, no criminal involvement? Oh, that really made me feel good. You're really reaching. You're fantasizing. What does that have to do with having the RCMP clear you of any wrongdoing in this case? That would be the term for it. You don't even want to go near that because the RCMP would laugh at you. We're keeping all avenues as open as possible.
For Jack and Lily, and then they go through it, and then there's the box checked for criminal involvement, no criminal involvement, and they check the box for no criminal involvement, and I put my signature on it, and there was my consent. Did up the paper for consent on my DNA, you know, they fill in the paper, you know, May 2nd, missing persons case for Jack and Lily, and then they go through it, and then there's the box checked for criminal involvement, no criminal involvement, and they checked the box for no criminal involvement, and I put my signature on it, and there was my consent.
How did you feel when you saw that box was checked?
Well, there's that, boys. Well, that takes care of that, doesn't it? What a spaz. As soon as I listened to this interview, I couldn't wait for AB to spew out my thoughts. Well, you, Staff Warrior, you should be spewing your own thoughts as well, by the way. Ruby, animals are not capable of the same level of cruelty as humans. You ever seen chimpanzee? Nasty. They can be vicious and obsessed.
Very happy. But
Oh, I was very happy.
I've known for, you know, since the start that I'm 100% innocent.
Huh? You've known since, like, he almost gives himself all away here. That's really, when did you learn to shut the hell up? I've known since the beginning of all of this. When I found out then I was innocent. I knew I was innocent then. That's not exactly what a person in this circumstance should be saying there, Danny. I always knew I was innocent then, just like I am now. I knew I was innocent. When exactly did you find out? When did you figure out that you were innocent in all of this there, Danny boy? What time exactly? Can you put a time frame to any of this? And What is it that you're innocent of, by the way? Why don't you specifically spell it out for us, what you're innocent of? And he comes out and he's close to doing that. And that's straight up red rum and really the disappearing of them, which I think to him means transporting the bodies off the property. Oh, Daniel, that's exactly what you're guilty of doing. We know that.
But to see investigators say that to me before, but then also, see it visually with my own eyes, it was a big thing.
So it's your understanding, you believe, that RCMP do not consider you a suspect?
I'd say 100% I'm not considered as a suspect at this.
Fuck. This guy is really delusional. You are delusional, Daniel. You're the number one suspect, asshole, and you are going to be, and you're being brought forth through the courts, and they're going to paint a really lovely picture of the type of individual that was stepfather to Jack and Lily in this circumstance.
This point.
Why is that?
I mean, from that box being checked, but we can also go back to when I had my polygraph exam. When we went over the questions beforehand, all the questions were on death, right? So they concluded that by the end of it, I was truthful with all my answers. So I didn't have anything to do with the murder of Lily and Jack. And there was no questions on the disappearance or abduction or kidnapping or anything of that nature. So that leaves me with, I didn't murder the kids. I have nothing to do with the disappearance because they did not ask any questions on that.
And so you mentioned that in the polygraph, they didn't ask you about the disappearance and whether you had anything to do with it. But I'm going to ask, did you have anything to do with the disappearance of Jack and Lily?
No.
Did you kill them?
No.
What do you think happened to them?
At this point, I'm completely just not sure. I mean, I've thrown speculation out in the past and, narratives that I think, are...
See that? Right there, he made a major slip. Danny, you slipped up. You've been out there with Durwood pushing out some serious narratives in this sense. And they just haven't worked out. Nobody believes them. Isn't that beauty? Best part of the interview right there. You want me to rewind it? Okay. He said red rum instead of disappearance, Kathy McClure. He said both. Yeah, unsolicited. You got it. You guys are picking it up. You guys know. Mike says, he could have been higher than a kite hallucinating, did the evil deed, and now distancing himself from the cruel act. He blamed his evil side on not himself in so many words. Mike, I hear what you're saying. You're talking about disassociating himself from the act of it in of itself. Yeah, because he's traumatized himself. He split his personalities using those substances. I know what you're talking about. I'm with you. Yeah, but it's still, at the end of the day, him legally responsible. Don't care which one of your fucking Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde personalities did it. You're still getting the silver bracelets put on you. And maybe even tased if we got luck on our side. Yeah, and really what you're talking about, Mike, is a greater... With this, in this circumstance, and others... I think it's more to do with the substance that he's on over a long period of time that would have exacerbated his mental state in that sense. That's just the natural progression of an addict on that particular substance. It's a dissociative. It's a divorce drug. You're talking the right language here, Mike. No excuses, says Kelly. I absolutely believe he was responsible for the disappearance of Jack and Lily, Detective Tam says. You and everybody else. Math users do that without being prompted by the interviewer. And that says a lot about his character. So he makes me happy when he does things like this. So I've got nothing but props to give this particular pork product, also known as an RCMP officer. But he's different. He's the man at the behavioral sciences. He knows everything in that sense. Oh, and when it comes to this investigation too. It's not, you know, he knows how bad it looks for Danny Boy. Why would you as an investigator even want to change that? This guy is like a fountain of bullshit. It's like a fountain of evidence that you just press record and build in the case towards him. It's just painting a more clear, a better picture, a more solid case, you could refer to it as. Good to see you, Chip Foland.
Because I have to maintain any integrity of the work we're doing. Anybody in the public who has information that can help us with this are asked to please engage with us and pass that information along so that we can work with it.
Yeah, that also includes those reports, Danny, of you getting a Gatorade tweaking out at the gas station. Interesting. Daniel wants them to stop. Don't be calling the RCMP on me, everybody, he says. And of course, Rob corrected him here, and he's reminding everybody that no, every little piece of information relevant to this situation, and no matter how much he squirms, Daniel is relevant to the conversation. That's the part he doesn't like. Fuck, a few months ago, you were basking in the glory of all of the notoriety and the attention. Now you're a little bit poo-pooey, it sounds like. He's a little standoff, sweet tea. He's having to make up instances of having death threats like he was a lost Game 7 of the World Series in New York. You're famous, boy. This is before he even got the slapped with those series of charges that are going to make him an RSO. Oh, I don't want to talk anything about Malaya right now. Oh, but did I tell you about that little box that said no criminal involvement? Yeah, that's how I know now that I'm innocent. Holy Hannah. So really, he's just admitting he's got absolutely no reason to hold on to hope of not being found guilty in this circumstance.
What do you think happened here?
Again, I'm not going to comment on what I think.
Old Rob McCammon, you can just direct every question over to AB on YouTube for that, and I'll fill everybody else in as to what the RCMP actually believe. Off the record, we'll call it. AB off the record, bro.
As a professional investigator, we have to base our direction on evidence and information. So I'm not here to comment on my thoughts, and I'll allow the information we gather to make those decisions.
From the beginning, RCMP has maintained that this was not an abduction. The families believe that it could have been an abduction. Do you think that that's a possibility here?
Well, if that were something that took place, we will gather the information and we will pursue that, and we will pursue any charges related to anything like that took place. However, again, we don't have any direct evidence of an abduction or anything like that at this time. So,
yeah, so he goes on to give her the eyeball again and says, as in it didn't happen. That's the possibility as well, of course, that wasn't a stranger abduction, didn't happen. And you know where she's going. Carol Johansson, thank you very much for the super sticker. Mwah!
So you're not pursuing the investigative avenue of an abduction?
We will look at all avenues of investigation.
That's right. Give it to her, Rob. You tell her.
That's not evidence or information that we have directly at this time.
Yeah.
Why not?
Because it didn't happen.
Well, there could be a number of reasons for that. We may not have found that information yet. There could be a member of the public out there that has a key piece of knowledge that we haven't managed to bring forward yet. There could be a number of reasons for that, and the other one being there may not have been an abduction. So,
yeah, he saves the obvious one to last. Do you see that? Did you catch that? Was that good journalism, or was that Rob just giving that answer finally? That it took it difficult to get it out of you. You know, you don't have to tell us, but you can, tell us something. And he told us something with that statement. Yeah. The other possibility is it didn't fucking happen to, what do you want to say? Didn't happen. Of course it didn't happen. What's the real question in the room here? When are you going to name Daniel as suspect number one and fucking just, that's the underlying question. When are you going to name Daniel the suspect here? At what point do you think you're going to have enough evidence against him? Oh, well, I just can't comment on that. I wonder how he would dodge that now. I'm interested. Just to see how he dodges the question. That's a better way to gauge. Carol Johansson, it's interesting that Daniel said that the RCMP gave him a phone to use. Conventional wisdom is that would have had to be discovered because it's a Missing Persons Act. But what if a phone was for MBM change? An MBM change? I wonder if they have more than one phone. Doesn't anyone else think there would be a slew more of charges on DM if MBM was fully cooperative right now? Yes, Michelle. We know there was ABUSC on a bunch of levels and to the kids. Yes, we do know that. Yeah, I don't think for a second that, they're taking it. They're doing everything that they can, by the looks of it, to make Malaya be as comfortable in coming out with us the story from her perspective than anything else. They're just trying to, coax it out of her, seemingly.
There may not be evidence out there to gather. Again, that's why we have to let the information we gather dictate our decisions and direction.
The families say that on May 2nd, they were told by an RCMP member on scene that an Amber Alert would be issued, and that did not happen. Why not?
I can't comment on the commentary that may have happened between a member and the family at the scene, but when it comes to the Amber Alert, the criteria for an Amber Alert wasn't met. We didn't have the necessary pre-qualifiers to issue an Amber Alert. However, we did issue vulnerable persons alerts related to the disappearance of Jackalili, and that was the appropriate kind of direction with the information we had at the time.
Looking back, was that the right call?
Yeah.
Have mistakes been made in the handling of this case?
I'm very confident in the work that the RCMP's done on this case, from the initial response that was within really minutes, and people on the ground searching property within a couple of hours, and the continued investigative effort by the investigators. I'm very confident in the work we've done. No, I don't believe we've made any huge mistakes, and we continue to put effort in to try and resolve what's happened with Jack and Lily. I'm confident in the work the RCMP's put into this file.
What's taking so long?
Well, the sheer volume of information that's come in is a big part, and investigations like this take time. We've had over 8,000 videos that we've had to review and go through. We've had over 1,000.
See, it's almost like hearing the articulate version of what Daniel was saying to the interviewer on his interview. He just mimics what he hears Rob McCammon say, the official narrative that everybody else knows.